Hello, 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 everyone. Yes, so we are going into our second week of the Heart Talks and Self Love series. And I'm your host, Elena Watkins. We are in the Women's Wellness Lounge. And tonight I have a special guest with me. She's special to me, so you know she's special to me. She's
Thank you.
definitely special to you guys. None other than my girlfriend, Miss Chinyere Eze. Good morning. Oh, no, God. Good evening, Chinyere. I said good morning. So you know my days are long.
I understand. Good evening,
So,
Delina.
listen, I was telling somebody the other day, I said, girl, I got long days and short nights. And she was like, long days and short nights. I was like, yes, they all run together. Okay.
I get it. I totally understand that.
It is crazy. So,
Mhm.
Shaniri, I know you, but I have to take the opportunity to make sure that my audience knows who I am bringing before them. Number one, let me let you all know that Shaniri is an author in our She Is Well Volume 2, and she wrote a chapter on being a mommy CEO, balancing motherhood and business. And her chapter is so juicy because it starts out with this little kind of like head scratcher in the beginning. So you got to get the book and read her chapter in order to know what I'm talking about. But Chinyere, by profession, and her business is being the CEO of the Eze Family Health Center, which is located in Southern Maryland. She is amazing and, of course, is very well sought after, being a trusted practitioner in the field and working as a highly skilled clinician. And then this is my favorite part, a patient advocate, which is why she and I connect on a deeper level outside of just understanding that we love healthcare. It's that whole patient advocacy that really kind of draws us together. Whenever we get in deep conversation, we're supposed to be on the phone for like a minute or 30 seconds, and we end up being on the phone for like a half an hour talking
Or
about
more.
various health issues. So, Shaniri, welcome to our Heart Talk series that we're doing this evening, not this
Thank
morning. This
you.
evening. So,
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
you're welcome. So, tell me a little bit about what's been going on in your world as it relates to like heart health. So, um, again, being a practitioner, I'm sure that, of course, when you encounter your patients, whether it's for their yearly follow up throughout the practice, tell me what types of things you're seeing as a pattern with women as it relates to heart health, if there's any one particular thing that you're noticing.
So what I'm noticing, especially with this ongoing pandemic, is a lot of the issues surrounding weight gain. Believe it or not, so
Mhm.
obesity.
Yes.
A lot of people have, including myself, gained some weight during this pandemic, and of course, that does increase your, propensity of developing heart disease.
Yes.
So then that's also related to hypertension, also related, increased chances of diabetes. We're seeing the blood sugar go up, blood pressure going up for a lot of my clients who hadn't seen maybe a year or two, and they're coming back with now these ongoing health issues on top of those who have had COVID and are having the ongoing long COVID symptoms.
Yes.
Which brings on a whole other realm of issues with that, but yeah, that's kind of the reoccurring thing that I'm seeing in my practice, unfortunately.
Yeah. And I was going to ask you about that because I did read an article probably about a month or so ago that that was an issue. And I know even throughout my talks and talking with some of my clients, I've referenced it as the pandemic pounds or the
Mhm.
quarantine 15. So the pandemic pounds tends to be about 10 pounds or less. And then you've got that quarantine 15 where it's like 15 pounds plus. So most of my clients that I'm seeing are falling within that range of what they're facing. And then something you just said also resonates with me. And honestly, one of my friends just sent a message to me this morning that she had to have her medication regulated for her blood pressure because her
Mhm.
blood pressure started to go up. And
Wow.
today
Yep.
she texted me, it was 160 over 101. And they
Mm.
had to change around her medication and put her on clonidine and all of these different things. And
Yeah.
she was saying that hers was not necessarily attributed to weight gain, but more or less anxiety and just
Stress.
more like emotions around what's been going
Mhm.
on in the world and
Yep.
also with the pandemic. So I think we kind of have this twofold thing going on, which is why I
Mhm.
decided to combine heart talks and self-love
Yeah.
together,
Yeah.
because that's what we're seeing. Is that kind of like what you're noticing as well?
Absolutely, absolutely. Just on the heels of this pandemic, which we're still going into, I think we're going on 2 years now.
Hmm.
People are very stressed. There's anxiety and stress, which, of course, again, is related to heart health. It can increase your chances of heart disease and heart attack, especially. So, yes, I'm definitely seeing that a lot of that in my practice as well.
Right. Now, what can we do outside of, me? I know that, of course, I think most practitioners and those that are definitely in for it, being patient advocates, definitely do what we can to make sure that we are letting our patients know that we are utilizing our platforms and using our voice to spread the word and to make sure that people know that to not only protect the physical being of your heart by changing your
Mhm.
health habits, but also I always refer to it as the neck up checkup. Like that is so important. When I first meet someone, or even when I'm first doing a discovery call or discovery session with the client, I don't even generally talk about in the beginning what physically brought them there, right? Because usually they're there for
Mhm.
some physical reason, whether it's for weight loss, wanting to, eat better, or just
Right.
change, or the doctor said I need to come and, get some support from, a health coach. I want to check on them mentally first. And I believe that oftentimes, if we can spend the time doing that, you likely will uncover a lot of the issues that lead to the behaviors that manifest physically. Is that something that you experience in your practice, that you take the time out to really talk to your patients or first before you actually break out that blood pressure cuff or that stethoscope and really start to kind of do a physical exam? Do you really take the opportunity to talk to them to find out, where they are emotionally and mentally?
Absolutely. I think the more that I sit down and, they come in, a patient may come in with a particular complaint, and the more I sit down and ask them questions about that complaint and
Mhm.
surrounding it, we then over time get to the root of
Yes.
what's leading to that, right?
Mhm.
So the trouble sleeping, they
Yeah.
came in for my blood pressure's been running up, but turns
Mhm.
out they have trouble sleeping, which is from the anxiety and elements of depression and all these other elements that really impact their physical health. So a lot of times people have this propensity to kind of separate the mental health and
Mhm.
physical health when they're very much intertwined. So it's
Absolutely.
important
Yes.
those things. Yeah.
Yeah, that big time. Sorry, I apologize for that. So the other piece of where that's leading me to, because I'm always like thinking of one thing and then kind of like leading into the next part of it, as far as the emotional and the mental piece of it. So when you're talking with your patients and they mention to you about the mental part of it, or just through conversation, not necessarily that you're doing saying to diagnose them to say, oh, I feel, find that based on what you've stated to me that you are experiencing depression. Do you right away go to wanting to treat them with medication, or are you suggesting to them that that's something that they can or refer them to a counselor? Or are you saying to them, let's really dig into the root cause of your source of pain or your source of emotion?
And you're exactly right. In really getting down to what the root of their particular ailment is, whether it's the
Mhm.
depression, whether it's the anxiety, which I'm seeing a lot of in my practice.
Right.
Getting down to the root, finding out what strategies they've tried.
Yes.
If we have a history of these issues before, is this something that's relatively new? Um, I tend to mention that yes, medication is an option. I may not necessarily diagnose them that particular visit, but after following up, after incorporating different maybe stress management mechanisms, different lifestyle modifications, and things that they can try to do initially to help relieve some of these symptoms, then we want to try to go with a more conservative approach before starting medication. If down the line medication, right? If down the line the medication's an option, because there's certainly that element as well, to where those lifestyle modifications and stress management strategies don't work, medication may be an option. But I tell my clients,
yes,
my patients, it's not the cure all. I usually recommend some type of therapy or counseling along with it. It's not just something isolated by itself. If there's a number of different ways in which we can address the issue, that's what we'll talk about. I ask about their support group at home. Do they have friends and family or whoever that they can talk to their issues about? I had a young lady just last week. I've been talking with her over the last few months, very high levels of stress. And a lot of the time she just kind of internalizes things. And I think that's what we as women do. We want to take on the whole world and everything's on our shoulders, and we don't ask for help. We don't ask for that support. And it's so essential. It's so essential, right? We can't do it all. So I really try to emphasize to my clients, like, my clients and patients, you're not alone. Ask for help. Counselors and therapists are there. Some are a little weary about it, but I really kind of, suggest to them, try it. You never know if this might be effective. And even if with therapy, the first therapist that you do a session with, we're not going to get results right away. It doesn't happen overnight. Things take time, right? You have to give it time. And even with medication, it takes time. We don't know really how effective it's going to work until maybe 3-4 weeks in of taking it. Exactly. So, really helping my patients understand that, yes, you're having these feelings. You've probably been having them for a while. It takes some time to climb out of it. It takes some time to get that resolution.
Absolutely. You saw me over here cheering, right? Because not that I'm anti-medication, but I do believe that even with medication on board, if we are not understanding and really doing the digging, and Melissa even commented, and I put her comment up. She said, "Dr. Chinyere, I wish more doctors did the digging." And that's the piece that I really wanted to get out there. And that is that we truly, especially now, that we're seeing more and more people struggling with depression. We're seeing more people struggle with mental illness. And I want us to understand that it is not something that should be taken lightly. It is not something that we should be judged for. It is not something we should be ashamed of. It is something that we should, just like the broken arm, just like the twisted ankle, just like the high blood pressure, it is something that we should get treated. It is just that it is not visible to the naked eye, but it definitely exists. And it is something that can affect us both physically, as well as what we're going through emotionally and spiritually and mentally.
Absolutely. So yeah. Pay attention to those things. Yeah.
Yeah. And you mentioned something, and I think most of what you were talking about referred to, and that was lifestyle modifications. So, I'm always like saying, let's segue right on into that, that whole lifestyle modification. People are always like, oh my God, Lena, if you tell me one more time, I need to modify my lifestyle. Like, my middle name. I need to like switch my middle name on my birth certificate to Lena Lifestyle Watkins. Because honestly, if you just like embrace that piece of it, you will hear me say less and less of the L word. I mean, the same way we do with any other activity, when we embrace that, right? And we embrace certain behaviors to become a lifestyle, then it becomes second nature. And so that's why I'm always kind of like harping on that whole lifestyle piece of it. So what is just give us one or two lifestyle changes that you recommend for your patients as it relates to, it can be relative to heart health, because honestly, I believe any lifestyle modification that you make is going to help your heart anyway. But just one or two of the lifestyle modifications that you typically recommend, and that you don't feel like your patients, or your clients round up with, at you like, oh my God, I am so not going to be able to do that, or I'm not doing that, or I'll try. So name one or two that you're able to do that you feel really resonates with them and that they are able to start to work on making that change?
So I like to keep it simple. And it's really hard to keep it to two, but I'll try to keep it to
Okay. Oh no,
two.
you can do more. I just figured two because
Yeah.
I try to not inundate the people. I like, on my show, I always say you always are going to leave from here with something that's going to turn a light bulb on, make it brighter, or allow you to make a change today. So that's why I said one or two. Now, girl,
That's it.
you got 3 or 4, drop them.
You don't want to overwhelm. So I'm a big proponent in the idea of taking small steps
Yes.
to create big change, right?
Okay.
So not trying to overwhelm yourself with trying to change so many different elements about what has become habitual for you probably over years,
Right.
to try to change it overnight. It's just not practical, right? So really transformational things that you can do to change your health. One thing that's kind of underrated is sleep.
Ooh,
Sleeping more.
yes. Listen, girl, you said 2 things just now in the same sentence. One was transformational. That's mine. And the second was sleep. Come on here, Chinyere. Tell the people.
Listen,
Tell
I'm
the
telling
people.
you,
Y'all
so
go to sleep. I did a video on this like a month ago, girl, and I had people cracking up at me. I was like, y'all want to lose weight? Just go to sleep. Go to sleep. Like, go to sleep. And they were
you
like,
2 hours in the gym, just sleep more. Yes.
just sleep. Just sleep. Cut it out. Cut out. Go to sleep. And they were like, okay, I'm gonna need you to elaborate on that a little further. Go to sleep.
Let's keep it simple. Simply sleeping. It's restorative. It supports our metabolism. When you don't get enough sleep, you're going to increase your chances of, those increases in stress hormones, right? When you're stressed out, the same hormones that are released when you're stressed out are released when you don't get enough sleep, right? Another thing is, how it affects your metabolism, right? So you're going to have increased chances of developing, diabetes. Obesity, right?
Yeah.
And increasing your chances of high blood pressure as well. Like it literally can contribute to chronic disease when you're not getting enough sleep. So restorative sleep is definitely
Keyword restorative. What that
restorative.
means, ladies, is getting to that REM sleep. It doesn't mean, oh, girl, I was in the bed for 8 hours, but you wake up tired because 4 or 5 of those hours you were tossing and turning and you never really got to sleep because you were thinking about the 50, 11 million things that you want to do. So we're not counting the hours, we're counting the quality of sleep, right? So
the quality of sleep. Turn off the tablets, turn off the phones, all the lights in the room, the TV. Allow your body to shut down. Very important. Okay. The other thing is getting into a exercise routine, and I say a movement routine. That's another alternative if people don't like the word exercise, right? Move a little bit more. Try to do at least 30 minutes a day, hopefully within your target heart rate. Brisk walk, going up and down the stairs. Take the stairs instead of the elevator. We've heard these little things of ways we can get more movement in. Parking a little further away in the parking lot. Adding those extra steps in, it really helps. A third thing is nutrition, right? So I'm not going to use the word diet, but being nutrient focused, looking at what we call living foods that are high in nutrients that feeds your body. Staying away from the processed food, the foods high in sugar and fats and things that don't really give your body what it needs. Once your body gets real food, it won't want the junk anymore. Finding the healthy alternatives, right? So I tend to take the approach of not telling my patients, don't eat this, can't eat this. Right. It's more of eat this instead of that. How about this instead of that? And then really giving an alternative to the bad choices.
Feel like it's the deprivation. So that's, again, part of that whole approach to it. So it's not like you're living this restrictive type of mindset. Instead, it's again, you're living more of that healthier lifestyle. Like, again, when you begin to kind of start to replace those things that you enjoy with things that are more of a healthier alternative of that, you
Mhm.
don't feel as though, oh, I can't have that anymore. I can't. You can. Just this is just a healthier option to that,
Correct.
or a healthier way
Correct.
to
And I
even prepare it.
absolutely, and people are more receptive to a
Hmm.
healthier alternative instead of I can't have this, can't have that.
Right.
Yeah,
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 absolutely. Yep. And then I think sometimes too, when we show them, and even if it's explaining to them why doing that will net this result, right? So it's kind of like the what's in it for
correct.
me. So I think when
Yeah,
we do a good job explaining to
yeah,
them what doing this will manifest into, what doing this will do for you, I find that people are a little bit more leaning into, okay, girl, you said if I do what? Okay, but I can have this, but I can still. So I think if you do, when we explain to them, it's not, X, 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 don't do this, don't do this, don't eat that, don't do that. You right then and there, they're already kind of like putting up this wall and they're shutting down. Instead, I think
yeah.
if you kind of like really explain it to them in such a way that they understand the what's in it for me at the very beginning, you get the buy-in. Do you find that same thing with your
You're absolutely right.
clients?
Really breaking down and helping my patients understand why we're
Yeah,
incorporating these changes, people are more likely to do it.
yeah.
If they are just going through the motions and they don't know why or what's the
Mhm.
reason behind it,
Right.
they will do it for a while, but it may not last long, right? So
Okay.
once they realize, hey, when I'm getting sleep, I'm, allowing my cells to restore and regenerate and things like that. You just
Right.
understand the intricacies behind why,
Yeah.
you're
Yep.
doing what you're doing and what's going on. So presenting the benefits. I know for women,
Oh, yeah.
for women, I say, you're just gonna look better. I know we can be very like focused on our looks and our
Mhm.
appearance,
Absolutely.
but good health actually looks good. Like,
Yeah.
when you're healthy, you're gonna feel better, you're gonna look better. So that is for a lot of people, that's an incentive,
Yeah,
you know.
and that's an
So
incentive in and of itself, right?
yeah,
Because that's
yeah.
generally the one thing, as I said before, it's one of those things that you can see, right? Versus the whole
Mhm.
is how you feel. So leading with that. And then I find like when I say to them, it's the whole, you've heard people say, so what's your why? So knowing that they buy into it or whatever the incentive is, and I'll say, okay, so then why aren't you doing such and such? Why are you trying to avoid sugary foods? Why are you trying to avoid X, Y, and Z? And if they're able to actually say to you the reasons why and they personalized it, girl, you got them sold because they've listened to what you said and they've internalized it and they've made it appropriate to them and not just something they saw on Instagram, not something they've
There
read,
you go.
not something
Yeah.
that, again, their healthcare provider or whomever or the pharmacist or a family member told them, but it's something that they've kind of wrapped their arms around and said, oh, I'm doing this and this is what's going to be my end result because I've decided to do this.
You're exactly right. Really getting to the source of what they value and what matters to them as an individual, not what they heard from their girlfriend or
Uh-huh.
what's worked for someone else. It's really making it individualized and allowing people to have that space to say, hey, this is what's important to me. This is what I value. And that's why I'm doing such, such and such. So it's really good to take that approach.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I find that you work less and they work harder as a doctor, patient, coach, client, whatever your relationship is with them. Once you can kind of get past that, and kind of get them into that realm, you know that they're doing the work. You know that the lifestyle changes are happening and it's coming. And then
Most
they'll begin to
definitely.
see it, right? They'll begin to
Yeah.
actually see the things that you explained to them were going to happen anyway. If you just kind of just listen, or
Mhm.
implement and do the things that we talked about, that we discussed. So,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's a collaborative effort. Yes. But yeah,
absolutely.
they definitely take the helm of, you know, taking the lead, allowing them to kind of take the lead. You guide them. I always say I'm the facilitator. I
Right.
provide the information for you, but you're the one that's in the lead to really implement it. And you're going to reap the benefits and the transformation from those changes.
Absolutely. Yep. 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 Shinyeri, you know what? Honestly, when we first came on tonight for tonight's show, now you and I know that this conversation was going to be something a little different, but every time we did delve into it, it
I
becomes
know.
it morphs into something totally different. But what I do want to, before we leave and end the show, because we've got like a few more minutes left, is to really talk about what, I always lead with, okay, this is Heart Talk and Self-Love series. So this last portion, before I read from the TLC book to give them the self-love portion of tonight's show, is I want you to kind of just very quickly and just as eloquently as you can talk to the women about how heart disease and having a heart attack does not look like what we see, as far as the whole clutch your chest, do the whole throw your hands up in the air, Fred Sanford thing, because that's like the picture that pops in most people's head, like oh my God, I'm having this, and it does not 100% manifests itself that way, which is why it is called the silent killer, for a reason. And so I would like for you to kind of just let them know what signs and symptoms. And I'm not talking about the ones that we pretty much know. I'm talking about the ones that we would not put two and two together and say, oh, that could lead to a heart event, especially for women.
I am so glad you mentioned that. It is so important for women to understand that heart attacks may not present the same within us. Heart disease is the leading cause of death among women. So it's so important that we understand how it may present differently. So for women, we may have symptoms of dizziness, shortness of breath, nausea, upper back pain. That's how, and of course, the classic chest pain and chest pressure, yes. But in women, those other kind of what we call atypical type of symptoms, or not the well-known symptoms, could be how it presents. Just recently, I was watching a news segment. There was a young lady, Megan Corbin. She was a dance instructor, 30 years old. Wow. One night she was in the bed and noticed she was feeling very shaky and very nauseous. She didn't know what was going on. Her husband took her to the hospital. She was having a heart attack. And that's how it
her body, right? And that's one of the things that I always say, no one knows your body best but you, and never ever downplay. I always say, if you have to second guess, and I tell this even to my children, I always say to them, if it meant enough to you to stop and to really give whatever that thing is, and in this case, we're talking about symptoms of your body, a second thought, or a wait a minute, then I think you should definitely not ignore it and really dig into okay, something may be going on. And I don't care if you have to go to an urgent care, if your primary doctor does not have availability to see you, you are your own advocate. And you know when there's something going on. And I mean, do listen to yourself and make sure that you go and get seen and get it checked out. The atypical symptoms that Chinyere was referring to were the ones that I absolutely wanted her to talk about. And those are the nausea, vomiting, dizziness. Those are things that we, even myself, would say, oh my goodness, I ate something bad, or I'm just not feeling well today, right? We kind of downplay them or placate the symptoms sometimes. But when you put them together, and especially if you're having chest pressure or symptoms that, again, you're not feeling quite right, palpitations, put those symptoms together and know that there is something going on. Your practitioner could do that, go into urgent care or to the emergency room. Do not forget to tell them that there's also pain, jaw pain, pain radiating down your arm. The top three ones that are atypical are the jaw pain, nausea, vomiting, and the back pain, I believe.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
So those are some things to watch out for sure, for women. So we got to pay attention.
Yeah.
Don't brush it off,
No.
right?
No.
Don't assume it's something else, or get it checked out to know for sure. It does
Mhm.
not hurt. It does not hurt. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. You heard it right here on
Yes.
Heart Talks and Self Love series with me and Chinyere. Get it checked out. And
Get it
most of the
checked
people
out. Yes.
who are in the wellness lounge, they know me. Like I've had people who they may not even be clients. They may be just members of the women's wellness lounge. They will inbox me and say, this is what I'm feeling. This is what I'm experiencing. And I'm like, should I go to the doc? I'm like, absolutely. Like, you need to be on your way, going to get this checked out. But what I respect them for, and this is why I always say, when in doubt, obviously get it checked out. But also, even if you feel like you just want to kind of like, run it by someone, whether it's, a family member or a trusted healthcare provider, someone to say, what should I do? Make sure that obviously you trust that person, but you ultimately, as Tracy said, you are your own advocate. And I always say that to them. If it concerned you enough to reach out to me, I want you to investigate further. And that truly is the key, because that's not something that you could potentially regret if it's a life altering incident, right? Or if it's something that's
Right.
threatening. And so,
Right.
yeah, I always say definitely reach out and go and follow up with your practitioner. So thank you, Tracy, for that. And then, hey there, Nurse Charlene, how are you? So we've got some amazing people joining us tonight. I hope you guys took away one little piece, a nugget, something that you were able to connect with, something that spoke to you, maybe even a transformative lifestyle, even if it was just to get good quality sleep tonight.
Wait.
Yes,
Yes.
get that sleep on. Get y'all sleep on. Listen, I'm gonna ring my sleep bell. Okay, go to sleep. Go to sleep. That's really
Go
my
to
drink
sleep.
bell. Look, it's really my drink bell, but it's gonna be my sleep bell tonight. Go to sleep. Get you some sleep. And yes, we say strive for 7 to 8 hours. However, it's good quality sleep. So it's not um, about the hours of sleep, but the quality of sleep. Yes, the
Quality.
hours are important, but I will take a good quality 6 hours of sleep over 8 hours of being in the bed and not really getting that good quality sleep. So that's where it is.
Absolutely.
Okay. And
Yeah.
Sandra said the bell worked for many things. Okay.
Thanks.
LOL. She knows what that bell is. So we'll be ringing it quite a bit on the show that we do monthly called Glitter, Glam, and Giggles tomorrow at 8 o'clock. So yeah,
Oh.
tomorrow we'll be ringing it for another reason, right? It's drink, drink, drink.
I hope water, right? Drink water.
All right, let's see. Um, hold on. Before I go, do I have time? Yep, I'm a little bit over, but guess what? I want to read this real quick. And it's in the TLC. Everybody needs a little TLC book. I am a contributing author in this book, and Tawan Lowe is the visionary author for it. This is number 3 in the series of her book. And I want to just kind of preface this one thing, and it's actually by her as the author of the book. This day 82. So it's 90 days of needing TLC. So I'm on day 82 in the book. And it says, I've fallen and I need help. Being strong and appearing strong are not one and the same. And sometimes the courage to be vulnerable is where real strength is found. Sometimes self care is just asking for help when you need it. To get help, you must be comfortable with receiving it or even admitting you need it in the first place. Come on, y'all. I'm a free fall. I'm a
Yes.
free.
Yes.
Mention this.
Say
I'm
it again.
confirming, and this is, affirming that yes, it is okay for you to need help and to recognize that you need help. Don't be scared to ask for help. It's 3 simple words that can get your needs met and change the trajectory of your life. I need help.
Nope.
So the declaration for that is today I will ask for help. Okay. That
I
is my
love it.
prescription to you. Write a prescription out for them, Shinyere. Write it
Yes.
out. Write that prescription.
Yes, I love that one. I love that one. Yeah.
Yes. So Shinyere is saying it. I'm gonna put it right here. I'm gonna say from Shinyere. And it's gonna say, I need help. It's a prescription. No, but honestly, we do. I know sometimes we like that, or maybe I'm not going to say we like to. We just don't realize that we do have the cape on. And
Yeah.
I think more now than ever before, we have to be okay with loosening that cape, and even hanging it up sometimes, and allowing other people to provide us some. I put on there, I need you. That's even better. I didn't even mean to type that. I meant to put, I need help. Oh my goodness.
Look, that's a Freudian slip.
Yes, girl. Oh my goodness. I meant to put, I need help. Look at that. Okay. Well, we're going to turn it then. That's that whole, like that 40. I need you. You can say that too. I need you.
Listen, I need you.
Look at
It's
that.
okay to say it. Let's take the cape off for a
Yes.
moment and
Look.
just express ourselves and say, I need you. I need
Yes.
help.
I need you. We're going to end it on that note. I love it. This, I need you. And I was instead typing, I need help. What? Hey, I need you. So whoever, a couple of y'all that might be on here, I might be reaching out like, oh, I need help. See, I put it out there though. I said, I need you. Chinyere, as always, thank you. It has been magnificent having you on. And so I want to make sure that I put your contact information up. So your website is
www.theezeway.com. So that's THEEZE way, WAY.com.
I love it. And she is located in Southern Maryland. For those of you who are in the DMV area, and is open to taking new clients.
Yes.
Of course.
Yes,
So if you are in the area and you are in need of a practitioner who is very holistic, as I'm sure you have kind of gotten the vibe just in our short show tonight, how she is a patient advocate, she listens, and will definitely help you to get on a healthy journey and a healthy path, and not just sit down with her prescription pad and just write out, I need you instead of I need help. Or give you medication. So thank you so much, Chinyere. Always
thank you.
Thank you for coming on to the show. Thank you, everybody who tuned in live. For those of you who are watching the replay, just comment #replay. I appreciate you. We'll be back next Wednesday at the same time at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to continue our Heart Talks and Self-Love series. My guest next week is Mahisa Green, and we're focusing all on the neck up checkup with Mahisa next week. So see you guys next Wednesday at 7 p.m. All right.